if a man's wife goes astray and is unfaithful to him by sleeping with another man, and this is hidden from her husband, and her impurity is undetected, since there is no witness against her and she has not been caught in the act. And if feelings of jealousy come over her husband, and he suspects his wife, and she is impure, or if he is jealous and suspects her, even though she is not impure, then he is to take his wife to the priest. Numbers 5 verse 12 to verse 15, all the way to verse 31. Adding adultery in marriage. Dangerous effects of infidelity. If you read this whole chapter, it has like 8 dangerous repercussions of committing adultery. This is episode number 10. If you look just from verse 14, key number 1, if you commit adultery, one of the spirit that you create is called jealousy, husband's jealousy, or wife's jealousy. You will notice you can commit adultery, and you already know what adultery means, and your partner doesn't get to know. But let me tell you, when you arrive home, you will see the attitude of your partner becoming very aggressive, very vigorous. And you notice a person that you know to be very quiet becomes insecure and very rude and settled, and that person becomes somehow violent. Do you know why? It's because the adultery, you committed it somewhere in secret, in a dark place. Nobody saw you, but God was seeing you, and Satan, and you and the one you are committing adultery with. By the time you are coming from that action called adultery, you come out of it with the spirit of jealousy of your partner. That's why you notice your partner can just look straight at you and just suspect you. Do you know why? Because when you commit adultery, we have said the two shall become one. You become one with that person. So when you arrive home with a portion of the person you were with. So you don't come back home alone. No, you come back home with a shadow of that person. And that shadow is the one that now creates jealousy, because now there is contention between the official partner and this shadow, which you call a sorrow time. So jealousy. That's why you notice many people, even when you are caught in acts of adultery, you have ever noted, if you are caught red-handed, the repercussions in most cases are very dangerous. People end up harming one another. Number 2, very quickly, loosening of the hair. Verse 18, he says that after the priest has made the woman stand before the Lord, he shall loosen her hair. Shall loosen her hair. When you commit adultery, it speaks of loosening of your hair. This is a woman, so her hair is loosened. So you see the way women, they like doing braiding and carokitting or whatever it may be. They make the hair to look glorious. Now that is natural hair. What does loosening of the hair mean in application of life? Loosening of hair means departure of life arrogance. The moment you commit adultery, you will notice hair stands for glory, Here stands for splendor. Here stands for wisdom. Here stands for knowledge and understanding. The moment you commit adultery, you will notice, you will lose the hair compartment. And that is, you notice, many people have committed adultery. They suffer something we call mental challenges, mental issues, forgetting, stress, depression, even to a point you develop even head tumors. It speaks of shaving of your hair. Remember Samson, when he was on the riders' wraps. I have ever explained about that, what it means to be on the wraps of the rider. His hair went away. So loosening of your hair. Number 3 is bitter water that brings a curse. Verse 18, verse 24, and verse 27b. When you commit adultery, you will notice in every sexual activity there is production of water. There is a fluid that is always emitted. Each human being has different type of waters: tears, saliva, sweat, urine. And then during the sexual intercourse, there is water, there is a fluid that is produced, however you want to understand it. Now, when you commit adultery, it means you have drunk yourself with the water that brings a curse. And it's the one that God was speaking through Isaiah 22 and verse 22. Not Isaiah 22, Isaiah, very quickly, 30 and verse 20. Although the Lord gives you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction. So when you commit adultery, that water, that mixing, you drink it spiritually. You enter now into the water of affliction. You enter into serious sufferings. There's something else is denounced by family system. Verse 21. When you commit adultery dislinks you from your family system. Imagine. The moment you commit adultery, you will notice the benefits, the blessings, the inheritances, the goods that of your family system. They cannot be attached to you. So if there is a certain anointing that flows in your family, you become now disqualified for that. And you can borrow that from Reuben. Reuben slept with Bilhah, who now he was taken out of the family system blessings. When the time of inheritance came, his inheritance was given to Ephraim and Manasseh. So adultery dislinks you from family line blessings and prosperity and greatness and all that, and you don't qualify anymore for the family inheritance. Something else is thy waste away, verse 21 and verse 27. When you commit adultery, you are thy waste away. This is what today people call cervical cancer or prostate cancer, depending on your gender. There is no way you will commit adultery and your thighs are not affected. Remember, we were told who commit adultery is like a person who is walking on hot coals barefoot. Of course, your feet will be scorched. So he says, if you commit adultery, your thighs will waste away. This is why you notice nowadays there is a very serious uproar of the cases of cervical cancer, prostate cancer, and those kind of cancers. Something else is abdomen swelling of the abdomen. You get that? Swelling of the abdomen, you can read it in verse 27 and verse 21. It says it comes with the spirit of barrenness. Swelling of the abdomen means intestinal cancer, or it may mean barrenness, sterility, and infertility. In your spiritual realm, you have an abdomen where you do what? You fertilize your blessings through the spirit intercourses and all that. When you commit adultery, your abdomen swells. So you stop having a spiritual womb, you now have a swollen abdomen. So it speaks of sterility, life impotency, and barrenness. You cannot conceive a blessing beyond after adultery. Something else is bitter suffering. That is verse 24b and verse 27. When you commit adultery, you unleash yourself into bitter sufferings. And you can read that from Revelation 2 verse 20. And verse 21 and 22 says, whoever commits adultery with Jezebel will suffer severely. So adultery brings in your life bitter sufferings. Last but not least, it is a defilement. When you commit adultery, it makes you dirty. No matter how you try to cleanse yourself, you still